exercising recently?
I've not been exercising recently, but welcome to today's live stream. You know when I say I'm going live, Korban, that usually don't mean ask me a question when I'm doing that.
I didn't think it'd be so sudden.
Yeah, well, we just hit 9 o'clock, so that means we've got to go live, doesn't it?
Right. Well, that's what we talk about before and after then.
Yeah, my exercising. But yeah, welcome to the stream, or if you're watching this back as a video, welcome in. How are we all doing? Hopefully you're all having a good Sunday evening. Did anyone watch the football earlier today? Did you watch any of the games today, Korban?
It was terrible.
Which one?
Well, the big one. It was
yeah.
I've ever seen in my life.
That first half was very bad, wasn't it?
Well, the whole game. It was just shocking.
Cole Palmer had a stinker as well.
Who did?
Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
This is the first play ratings we've done since the haircut, isn't it?
Yeah,
do you want to address that to the public?
I've had my haircut. It's very good. Very nice.
What do we think of Korban's, well, whatever you want to call that, mop? Terrible haircut.
The old one.
Why am I late? I'm not late. I said it'd be 9 o'clock. I might have said 7:30 yesterday in Korban's stream, but you know, I said a lot in Korban's
you picked
stream.
Your time, you know. I was just trying to finish it, and then you go 7:30. It's like, well, I've just said have a good one to everyone. Yeah, that's normally it's finished.
Yeah, but you know when you press end, it stays on for like 5 extra seconds. So you like started a conversation or started singing or something. You just saw the last couple of seconds. Yeah. Hello, Martin. Welcome in. How are we?
Evening.
We'll start firstly though with having a look at some of the comments from the last play ratings. Obviously, there wasn't one last Sunday against Aldershot because neither of us watched the game, and then against Doncaster, obviously Korban was a busy man for that one. Was that around your birthday, something like that? So I just did it solo. So I did the question of the week. Then the question of the week, I cannot remember specifically what it was, but it was a work-related question. Is it the weirdest job?
Terrible question.
It's a good question. It got quite a lot of comments.
You cheated. Mine's puff, you know, straight out of my brain into the camera to the audience, to the lovely people. Yours. Let me just get my phone up and Google this question. Alexa, what's a good question? And I know loads of people's houses will just have Alexa banging off now, going, a great question is blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, a great question is from you because it's your question.
Yeah, but that's not my role. That's your role. So when I've got to take over your role, I'm not that prepared.
Well, you got to step up, haven't you? You know, you've got to be like Vidya and Oliver. You get your first team chance. You've got to step up and take the opportunity. And you didn't.
Yeah, but Oliver's the exact opposite. So do you remember specifically what the question was?
Yeah, it was, what's the most unique job?
Yeah, and then they were like, would you do it? How much you want for it? Something like that. But the main question was, what is the most unique job? So Richard Corbett, regular commenter, he says he knew a guy who worked at Leeds Bradford Airport who connected the sewage pipe to planes. He said it was an adrenaline rush when it started pumping out to make sure it was connected properly.
That is a very unique job.
Is that a job that you would consider?
Depends how much. I'm all about the money. Even if I don't get paid for this. Well, come on, you got to speak.
No, I was reading through the questions. Paul's a banter me. He has quite long comments, so I had to make sure I got to the right thing. So he says, question of the week. I watch these vids in the morning whilst I'm still technically waking up. It takes ages for me to feel normal and awake, so I probably could come up with a very unusual job, but it's way too much for me to be thinking about. But yes, an astronaut is a job, not a hobby. How many people do you know that are amateur astronauts that just pop into a rocket and go to space to pass a bit of time?
Yeah, that is an unusual job.
And Ben Dover says, this was the most liked comment from last week. Question of the week answer, Korban's barber, as it would be an easy job considering he never gets his hair cut. However, if he was to get a trim, I would have to be paid over £100,000, as it means I would have to touch his greasy, sweaty mop of a trim.
Well, what can I say? Every picture tells a story. Look at my picture. Look at this. It's great. Isn't it great? Let's see your hair. I think we should have another question a week of let's compare hairs. Come on.
No.
Come on.
No, as
Why
a
not?
100% stake owner in the player rating series, I will not be doing that. You do not have that authority.
Come on, you've got to. Do the people want it? If the people want it, we can do it.
When I just got through all the player ratings in half an hour because Korban wasn't on. Yes, but you don't get Korban being called a greasy, sweaty mop, do you? So I guess the swings and roundabouts, all that sort of stuff. Should we get into some player ratings, or do you want to give you?
And this isn't grease. This is gel. So
Do you need to gel short hair? I thought I understood the gel for the Alex Turner, the Ryland Clark look,
Yeah.
but now.
Well, I just felt like it. Just whatever. Do it.
So, what were your overall thoughts then on yesterday's 1-0 defeat to Fleetwood Town?
I thought, to sum up in one word, I'd say overreaction, which is probably controversial. But I thought we were good. Second half, first half we ballsed it up, but second half I thought good positives.
Do you think though that it's concerning that same way at Cheltenham when we have all this pressure and we really struggling to score? We've got all the quality of attacking players and we just can't put the ball in the onion bag.
Quality. We've got loads of attacking players, but quality in attacking players I think is debatable.
In the second half, there was some good quality there. Poynton, Adore, Cook, Sanderson, Ben,
Well,
Jamie
if Sanderson's
Walker.
quality, why ain't he played since how we got?
Well, because like I was having this conversation with Tyler Smith's mum, Callum Kavanagh seems to get so many chances and just doesn't do anything.
As though you just have a Sunday roast with every Sunday.
Yeah, in-person conversation, yeah.
I wouldn't speak to his mum. I mean,
for
obvious reasons, it just wouldn't go down well. It'd be a character clash.
Right, let's get into some player ratings then. Sam Walker up first. There's not many good player ratings here. I think there's literally about 3 or 4 that are above a 5 out of 10. So I'm going to be brutal. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, you've got to justify yourself. You said we should replace him. Do you stand by your comment?
Yeah, I do.
So
I have extremely high standards, right? And from what I've seen of Sam Walker, specifically this season, I don't think he's good enough to win your promotion. Is he better than Arthur Okonkwo at Wrexham? No. Is he better than Ben Hinchcliffe at Stockport? No. Is he better than Christy Pym at Mansfield? No. They were the 3 teams that got automatically promoted last season, and he's not better than any of them. So that's a problem.
I think he could hold his own against Christy Pym and Hinchley. Okonkwo, but I think
too many errors. Too many errors.
I know, but a few years ago, Christy Pym were making a load of errors. Tiny man.
Yeah, and that's why they didn't get promoted a few years ago. We haven't got another few more years to wait. And also, Sam Walker's now, 32, 33? He's an old man. And he has got to be the worst penalty saver I have ever seen, or penalty attempt saver, should I say. He's not saved a single penalty in the league. He's faced about 40, maybe 50 in all competitions now since joining Bradford City, including the cup competitions, because of how long that bloody Grimsby penalty shootout went on for. He saved 1, and that was against Grimsby. He dived literally about a second before Coughlin had even done his little hop. I know that hop penalties are not meant to be allowed these type of days, but Sam Walker, it was so obvious he was committing to his right side, and Coughlin just has to place it into an empty net. His distribution was really poor. There was an opportunity in the first half to counter-attack, and he just rolled the ball straight back to a Fleetwood player, and then Jay Ben were in the left wing position, out of position. And yeah, I thought Sam Walker had a bad game off the top of my head. I don't think he really had much else to do apart from the penalty, because once Fleetwood got the goal, they sat in deep, defended well, and we just couldn't break them down. But Sam Walker, I thought, was pretty poor. Needs to work on his penalty practice, because not only does he never save them, he's also never going the right way as well, which is concerning. So 5 out of 10.
I can name a worse penalty saver.
Go on.
David De Gea. Europa League final, do you remember that?
Well, yeah, but David De Gea was not playing for it in the Europa League final for Bradford City, was he?
Not yet. But I can tell you what, he's a better goalkeeper than Robert Sanchez.
Yeah, he got done at his near post, didn't he?
Again, it's terrible. So, in terms of League 2 goalkeepers, they're always going to make mistakes. He's made a few too many this season compared to last season. He had high standards from last season. I wouldn't say it were a mistake, but one way, he went too early and he made his mind up. So yeah, I'd probably have to give him a 5 just for going too early. But like I said, it's a banned penalty. Referee was slow to catch on to it, and probably shouldn't have been allowed. But here's what it is, and we probably should have done more throughout the game, especially with how we started. That goal were coming, and but apart from that, he didn't have anything else to do. So, and it's been that way for a number of weeks now. Sam Walker doesn't have a lot of saves to make, or, good saves to make, but he is making those odd lapses of concentration, odd few mistakes. The one at Grimsby is probably the worst one.
Well, Carlisle, surely.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. That's another.
Yeah. But that's the thing though. This season, like I see, there were a few people replying to my tweet yesterday, being like, "Oh, he's been brilliant since he's come in since January, so we've got to give him a bit of slack." But last season, I'll give it. He certainly won us more points than he lost us. But this season, I feel like he's contributing to more goals that we're conceding rather than like how many clean sheets have we kept? It's not many at all. It's about 2, 3. We're really struggling to keep clean sheets. And again, you can put that down to the defence. We have conceded some sloppy goals at times. I would say away to MK Dons has been Sam Walker's best performance of the season so far. In that game, he made 3 or 4 really top-class saves. Since then, though, it has just been a slow decline. And I am being a little bit nitpicky by talking about, the Fleetwood penalty, he should do better for it. But I think it's more of a build-up of frustration from some of the previous penalties as well, where he just seems to commit himself far too early. I know he's 6'7", but he does go far too early, and it makes it really easy for the striker.
Yeah, I agree, ultimately. I think we've conceded 19 goals this season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've conceded 8 at home and 11 away or something like that. But I don't know about clean sheets.
Just on Tian Bantham's point there, I didn't know Keane Harrott play for Fleetwood. I don't think many people would, to be honest with you, because he's not really going to do anything. The highlight of his season will probably be winding up the Bradford City fans. I mean, I know he got a big buzz off of that, putting 1-0 up to the away end, and then he came on. Did he even touch the ball? Not so sure. But the fact that he's still in League Two 3 years on from when he was last in League Two goes to show how much his career has kind of taken a nosedive after betting on his own team to lose at least 9 times. Let's move on then to the defence. Brad Halliday is up next then. And I liked Halliday starting at right centre-back. I think that's a position which we could see him play going forward. But against Fleetwood, I thought he really struggled. I'm going 4 out of 10. Really, really bad game. Defensively in the first half, I don't really think he got caught out too much, but the penalty decision comes from a throw-in where him and Ben aren't switched on quick enough, and obviously then Cook, he's the one who commits the foul. But if we're more switched on from the initial throw-in, then we don't get punished like that. But in the second half, the amount of times where Halliday's crosses weren't beating the first man, or his passes down the line were poor and putting Ben under too much pressure. Defensively, I thought he struggled a little bit in the second half up against Danny Mayer. He had a bad game yesterday, did Brad Halliday, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe be back on the bench against Colchester at the weekend. So I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm giving him a 4 as well. His distribution of the ball, his passing were way off for me. A few hospital balls, like you say, to J Ben, where he's put a bit too much on it or a bit too less on it, so he's got to come back on himself. And if he gets a good crisp pass to J Ben, he's got a good opportunity to put a cross in. Whereas too many times it's a bit too heavy, his pass, and he's got a lot of work to do to get to the ball in order to get the ball into the box. And that were a big concern for me. And defensively, I didn't really notice him too much because, Fleetwood had a good surge in the first 20 minutes and it was mainly down our left side where they were targeting us. Obviously, when you've got Bobby Poynton left wing back and you see that, you're going to target that side more. But I'd prefer him at right centre-back than Diabate. I think he's learning the role. He's getting better in the role. It's certainly better in there than right wing back so far this season for me. But it didn't impress me too much, to be honest.
I think right centre-back certainly suits his attributes because we know this season especially he's been much better defensively than going forward because he has seemed to have lost that extra half a yard of pace, which I think J Ben can sometimes help him out with. But I think that's more important in the wing-back position. And I think because of his size, he's over 6 foot, I do think he can play as a wide centre-back in a back three, which is a little bit concerning if we've got 7 centre-halves at the football club and we're still having to play a right back in there because we've not got the balance of the squad or we've got injuries and all that sort of stuff. But we'll move on to Neil Byrne next then. This was one that we had a bit of a debate on your match reaction yesterday, but I'm going to go 5 out of 10 for Neil Byrne. I don't think there were many players who really stood out. I think 5 is going to be the average out there. There wasn't really much that he did wrong. There were a few long balls, diagonals, which were underhit and going straight back to the Fleetwood fullbacks, and there were 1 or 2 which went straight out of play as well. But I don't think yesterday's result was really on Neil Byrne. We've had our differences surrounding him so far this season, but I'd just give him a 5 out of 10. It wasn't amazing, wasn't great, so I'll stick him with that one. Although at times I thought in the first half he did struggle a little bit up against Ronan Coughlin.
So Would you not say he deserves credit for marshalling a back three with a traditional right back and a traditional left back to the side of him?
No, because it's not like they've never played there before. This is not 17, 18-year-olds that we're talking about. Like, it's not their first ever time playing there. Lewis Richards did it loads for Harrogate, did it for Wolves Academies, played there a few times in pre-season this year for us as well. And Halliday has played there in the last couple of weeks. So it's not like the 17, 18-year-olds. These are players, especially Brad Halliday, who's played a lot of football, senior professional football. So I don't think he really deserves credit for that. These are not amateurs we're talking about.
Would you say that we were playing square pegs in round holes for that game?
I would, but I wouldn't say specifically in the centre-back position. I think the concerning thing was more playing Callum Kavanagh as an attacking midfielder and Bobby Poynton as a left wing-back rather than Halliday and Richards in centre-back. Because Poynton, when has he played left wing-back? He did it for about 10 minutes away at Crewe last season. That was about it. Whereas Halliday and Richards have played in them positions.
But Kavanagh sort of drops into a 10 when he's a striker, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he needs to stay away from it. In fact, just stay away from the football pitch at the moment, Cav, please.
It's a bit harsh. I for one, think he deserves praise for marshalling the back line with relatively inexperienced players in their roles playing there. Although, especially Brad Halliday experienced on a football pitch, not necessarily as a right centre-back. I thought aerially he was strong and dominant. And I know Fleetwood Town don't exactly have, the biggest strikers in the league. More sort of nippy sort of players like Coughlin, but I thought he dealt with them in behind a couple of times when the ball went in behind. Like I said, I know it got a few eyebrows raised, but I think he's deceptively quick. I don't think he's exactly slow. I don't think he's. I think he's Matty Platt quick. I don't think he's Ash Taylor slow. That's just my opinion, but I think that's clear to see when you see him running in behind. In behind our back line, not in behind the opposition's back line. I don't think we need to see that. But yeah, I thought it was steady, and I think that's how I describe Neil Byrne. So I'd give him a 7.
7's a bit high. Come on. I've got 7 down as my man of the match. So you can't give Neil Byrne a 7. He didn't have a good game. He had a very average game, and the average in this one is a 5 out of 10.
Well, no, I don't think that. I think it shouldn't be down to the result. I think if a player played well, they played well. We were talking about the individual player. If we're talking about the individual match, then it's different how you talk about the game and how it went. But I think an individual player, if they played well, they deserved the plaudits for it. If the whole team didn't play to their level.
Right, we'll have to agree to disagree then on Neil Byrne. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Hiptic says, Grandad Graham. Are you referring to Alexander there? Shazby asks if Korban is taking some illegal substances. And Dylan says Korban is off his head. So glad to see, as always, the chat agree more with me than you. Let's move on then to our final centre-back, Lewis Richards. He gets a 7 out of 10 from me, and comfortably Bradford City's man of the match. He was the only player who can really take any real credit away from the first half, only one who actually had some intent on going forward. He was constantly picking the ball up as a left centre-back, taking people on and driving us forward up the pitch, tried to link up with Bobby Poynton, but as expected, Poynton did kind of struggle in that position because, surprise, surprise, he's not a left wing back. Second half, I don't think he went forward as much, but he was still trying to link up with Adore and Poynton down that left-hand side, and I thought he's pretty solid defensively. Not really a lot got past him, in all honesty, so I'd personally give Lewis Richards the man of the match yesterday. He was most consistent throughout the full 90 minutes. The only player who was actually half decent in the first half, so I'll give him a 7 out of 10. But I do want to see him back in left wing back as soon as possible, please. Especially with Tyreek Wright being out for the next couple of months.
Well, I'd give him an 8 and my man of match. Yeah, it may be high because we lost, but I thought it was that good. And he's going strength by strength every game, and I'm really pleased to see it. 'Cause to be honest with you, well, last season, even at the start of this season, I didn't rate him all too much. I thought he was a fairly bottom half sort of a League Two player, and he's really growing into the team. But also to come in as a left centre back, it isn't his preferred position. It might suit him more. I don't know, but he obviously, like I said, he's played there for Wolves and a couple of times for Harrogate, but he's a left back, and he's took that position really well. Reads the game pretty well. I like his strength. I think he's got great strength, and it helps him more so on the ball to turn away from his players. And He ain't skillful, but that if you can have a skill and an attribute that you're strong at, that certainly is. He's got great strength to turn away from players and to drive into space as well. He ain't afraid to bring the ball forward. I think Shepherd will come back into that position, and then Richards will play as the left wing back. But it's really promising signs to see how he's developing, because you don't see too many players coming into a football club developing like he is at the minute. So yeah, we're really pleased to see him stepping in and being professional in that role. And he had another good performance again yesterday.
Just on Jack Shepherd, how big of a miss do you think he was yesterday?
It was a miss, but I don't think it was a big miss, because Fleetwood didn't threaten too much. I think where Fleetwood got us was in the midfield. That they absolutely dominated that midfield in the first 20 minutes. We got overrun in there. So I don't think it won the back line as much as it was a makeshift back line. I don't think it really was a weakness of ours. And second half, it was us in terms of dominating the ball. So actually probably although I've talked about Brad Allardyce's poor passing in towards the final third areas as a problem why I marked him down, having those sort of players in those areas probably helped us more so than having a Jack Shepherd or Paul Huntington or a Jack Deabart in those areas.
Let's move on then to Jay Ben next. And before we do that, make sure to drop a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. As always, we're aiming for 50 likes on the play rating, so make sure to like it if you haven't already. If you're watching this back as a video, get all your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Jay Ben then, as someone who I've been a big fan of so far this season, especially obviously playing as that right wing back. But yesterday I thought it was poor, really poor. 5 out of 10. Looked really tired towards the back end of the game as well. Got a really daft yellow card just because he looked like he'd kind of ran his race really. But his end product in the final third was really poor. His crossing's kind of his best attribute going forward, and constantly overhitting it or just not even beating the first man. And that's very unlike Jay Ben. I thought, especially in that second half, his final ball was absolutely terrible. Defensively, I don't really think he had much to do off the top of my head. Kind of supported Brad Holiday at times, but nothing that really stands out for me. So I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10 because I thought, in particular, his crossing was really poor.
I think a striker's only as good as the service that he's getting in to judge him. But then at the same point, the person who's putting the cross in is only as good as the movement in the box. And for me, he put in 2 or 3, I thought, good crosses into the area that no one moved towards the front post, or there wasn't enough movement in the box. We all know about Andy Cook. He wants to go to a back post. Vidane Oliver wanted to go to a back post, so that wasn't helping. They were getting each other's way. Callum Kavanagh wasn't really making any runs in the area. He was a bit too static in around the edge of the area for me. And by the time Sanderson came on, he looked to me making those front post runs, because probably sat on the bench, saw them crying out for it. It was a bit too late, because like I said, then Jay Ben looked to get a bit fatigued, and he showed a bit of tiredness, which was it contributed to us not being able to make anything of that surge we had towards the latter stage of the game, because a lot of players showed a bit of fatigue. So that was frustrating, because I do think he put in a good couple of crosses that no one gambled on. And similar to Allardy, really, defensively, I can't really judge him too much because they didn't do much to that side. But yeah, it was a slightly underwhelming performance. I also think as well, when we're talking about Jay Ben's crosses, like I said earlier, Brad Allardyce's passes to him were almost hospital balls, where he was fighting to get to the cross to put it in. So I also think Allardyce wasn't helping him out with his passes to put the cross in. So I'll give him a 6.
When Ollie Sanderson had that header in the second half, was it Jay Ben who put the ball in?
Yeah.
Because that was one that I couldn't remember who actually put the cross in. I'll give him credit for that, because that was a really good ball. And I actually think Sanderson should have done better with the header, but I guess it comes down probably like a game time, like a sharpness, all that sort of stuff. We'll move on then to the captain, Richie Smallwood. Next, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Very average in the game. Didn't really notice him. I thought he struggled quite a lot in that midfield, in all honesty. I don't think the 3-4-3, 3-4-1-2, whatever you want to call it, suits him. I think you need to see Smallwood playing as that lone anchor and kind of give other players to do that chasing in the midfield, because Fleetwood had a lot more legs and energy in there. And I thought Smallwood did actually struggle to deal with that. Didn't really do anything that you would know of. No real tackles, no real passes, crosses, nothing really to note with Smallwood. So I can't really say much else. I'll just give him an average 5 out of 10.
I'll give him a 5, because I was probably more disappointed with his lack of talking. I mean, you're only limited to how much you can see, because I didn't go to a game. So you don't see all eyes on him, do you? But I think in terms of getting older in the midfield and, getting players in better areas, I think his leadership could have been a bit better. And that's where we see where we see him at his best and where we're at our best. Sorry, when he's pulling everyone together. And I thought he could have done more to organise the midfield a bit more, considering how far we were getting running there. Like I say, he looked a lot better in the second half when he was left on his own in that midfield. But I do feel like, Jamie Walker won't get in tight to his players, and he then has to do the extra work to get around it, especially when Fleetwood were. Because you've got to think as well, in that second half, Fleetwood were happy to sit back and not to press high and not to push the midfielders forward. I think if Fleetwood kept going all the way in that first 20 minutes, that would have kept going on throughout the game. But that they decided to sit back, so it allowed us to push up. So I think if we had Evans fit, we've got to start him away from home. Even though I agree, I think Smallwood is better on his own in that midfield. You need a bit more. We need to be more compact in there. We need to be a bit rougher in there, because far too many times they were getting in and we were nowhere near them. We're always yards are too short and it was too easy for them. And you've got to put that on Smallwood as well as the rest of them in the midfield.
Shaz B says that captaincy needs to be taken off of Richie Smallwood and given to Andy Cook. Is that something you would agree with? I personally wouldn't agree with that.
I wouldn't take it off Smallwood in the first place, but obviously that's just my opinion. But in terms of giving it to Cook, I think that would be a terrible decision in my opinion, because I'm not a fan of strikers being captain, because they tend to be more selfish players anyway, and they're all out for themselves. And when you're giving them the captaincy, that can also go in the opposite way, where they then turn away from that and they start thinking about other things and other people instead of themselves. So I don't think it'd suit Cook. It don't seem like a leader off the pitch, and I think that's where Smallwood probably shines as well as you do see him shouting on the pitch and pointing people together. I think off the pitch he leads as well, whereas I don't think Andy Cook's that type of player.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. Away then from yesterday's game, have you got a question of the week for us this week, Korban? Oh, is he frozen? I think he's frozen. Right, well, the show must go on. Oh, is he alive?
What about?
Is this lagging for you at home? Is it me? Is it Korban? Who's the problem here? Let us know in the chat.
Hopefully I come back.
Oh, hello? Are you there? I can hear you. Oh,
I'm
momentarily. You're in about 4 pixels, but I can see you.
I'm in.
I can hear you.
Okay. Can you not see me? Do I look like a ghost?
You a little bit, but it'll do.
It'll do. Well, my thing needed charging, my laptop.
Right.
So yeah, I sort of forgot about that. So question of the week. It didn't give me any time to. Flipping iTunes are messaging me. New software is available from Apple. iTunes. This update. I don't want to flipping update. I'm live. Big off. Flipping out. I think the moment still. Right. So question of the week. I think we should ask you.
While you're thinking, actually, I'll speak about John's point. John Booth says no to Andy Cook being the captain. He says he lost the plot in the first half against Fleetwood. I think Cook is too emotional to be a captain. I think sometimes he can be. His frustrations take over him a little bit. Or I think Smallwood can be composed and keep his temper a bit better. I think Smallwood is the best captain for us. But yeah, Korban, what is the question of the week?
If you had someone knocking on your door asking you for milk, would you consider it? Because it's for no particular reason. It's just an interest because it's a nostalgia thing and it's been making a resurgence since lockdown. So it's just of interest and something that you can take note. So if you had a salesman, a milkman knocking at your door, would you be likely to slam it right in his face, send a dog on him, chase him out the house? Well, I won't be. They won't be in it. Well, they might. Well, they used to be in the 60s, didn't they? Milkman had different perks to the role, but yeah. So basically, would you slam the door in the face? Would you be interested in talking to them about milk, or would you just say yes straight away because that's what you want? Do you want a milkman?
See, chat, if you understood the context behind the question, you would understand that it's not a bad question, but he's asking this probably specifically for anybody in a BD postcode. What if you knock? Well,
Well,
what if
said
this
person.
made up person, right,
Yeah.
knocks on the door and the customer knows the salesman?
Is that a question to me?
Yeah, that is a question to you. What are you going to do? What would hypothetically this hypothetical person do if hypothetically the customer knew the salesman?
Well, I suppose hypothetically, but the person who's hypothetically selling to the person, would just try sell it
Would
because
they use
they're getting a rage.
their fame as a way to maybe
Well,
persuade them?
well, you do channel memberships, do you?
Right. Well, yeah. Let us know your thoughts. If
Yeah.
a dodgy man with a sweaty, greasy mop on his head was knocking on your door offering you milk,
Oh,
would you want to buy it off of him, off the
yeah.
hypothetical person in the BD postcode?
I don't know because I'm not involved in this scenario, this said hypothetical scenario. But from what I've looked into through my research, apparently there's milkmen all over England, and these salesmen go all over England. Isn't just in the BD postcode. From what I've researched, hypothetically.
What about abroad, or is that a no go now because of Brexit?
Probably bad for the environment, isn't it?
Right, we'll move on back to Jamie Walker of all people. Yeah, wow, Jamie Walker. 4
Bloody
out
hell.
of 10. What does he even do? You know, he's wanting the team at the start of the season. A load of injuries meant he had to come in. Very good for a couple of matches. And now, when was the last time we came on a play? I think since we started doing them live, I don't think I've come on a player ratings, talk about Jamie Walker and said anything good about him. He's just not doing anything. In fact, I don't think I've said anything good or bad because he doesn't do anything. Yesterday, he was frustrating me a lot in the first half. So many needless, cheap free kicks. He nearly gave a penalty away just after we'd given a penalty away. That he gave the foul away just outside the penalty area. But I think he struggles playing as a central midfielder alongside Smallwood. He's much better in a 3-man midfield rather than a 2-man midfield. But creatively, whatever the word is, in terms of creativeness, he had none of it. Didn't do anything. No goal threat. Just didn't really do much, in all honesty. And I'm getting a bit frustrated with Walker. Hopefully Patterson's back soon because, you know, Sarswick's not going to be back for another couple of months or so. Maybe you put Poynton and Adore in there. I think that's good that Adore's back, so I thought he had a pretty positive impact. But Walker, again, just not doing anywhere near enough. For the money he's probably on, the experience that he's got, it's just not been good enough. And if the right offer comes in January, I don't think I'd be inclined to decline it, to be honest.
Do you think anyone had come in for an offer for a fee?
I don't think that the fee would be a lot. The fee, you're talking probably 25 grand maximum. I think Carlisle will probably come back in for him, to be honest. Yeah.
Do you think he'd suit Mike Williams' system?
I actually think he would suit Mike Williamson's system. Yeah, he's decent on the ball. There's a bit of tenacity in there. They've lacked creativity, so yeah, stick another non-creative midfielder in there.
Well, I think he creates, but he was non-existent yesterday and contributed only negatively by his petulance and his lack of understanding how to be compact and get tight to players. I think it was Helm, there, number 17, that was his man, and I was screaming at the TV because he just left him completely unmarked. He was yards behind him and weren't even looking at where his surroundings were, or looking around where Helm were, and they could have exploited that a lot more. I think they should have, really, especially in that first 20. And then you think, can he get on the ball more? Can he turn in the pockets? Can he create? He had a good chance as well on the edge of the box on the volley, which I think he should have done better with, to be honest. It was just wide of the post, but you know, it's that type of chance on a day like that you've got to take, and he didn't. Sort of miss it slightly. But it's his defensive ability. If it's just it's lazy, you know. He's not interested in defending, but when he's going back the other way, final third, opposition half, he loves it. He's great. He's got the tenacity. He's got that bite. But in our half, it's just so lazy. He just dangles a leg all the time, and we've seen it. He's been given second yellow cards 3-4 times, and you just know when he gets booked, you've got an awful feeling that it's going to happen again because he can't control it because he's lazy and he's just not interested. Which, you know, if you looked at Walker in their half and you said that about him, you know, from just looking at him in the opposition half, you'd think I were lying. I want about a different player, but I'm not, because defensively he's just so lazy.
Do you still stick by your point of Jamie Walker's Premier League pressing?
Come out with these things though. Bobby Poynton's going to play for England. Championship.
Kyle Stockton says that Jamie Walker is just there to fill the squad, and John Booth also agrees that he keeps getting disappointed with Jamie Walker. When Patterson and Sarcevic come back, do you think Jamie Walker will struggle to find himself back in the 11?
I think it'll have the opposite effect. I think it'll take his standards higher because of the competition. Maybe there's a bit of complacency in there, knowing that whatever happens, he's going to be starting week in, week out, because there's so many injuries in that area that, you know, he's got to play. So I think that could be having an effect on it, possibly.
I mean, I say about Patterson and Sarcevic coming back, but neither of them really lit the world on fire when they were playing so far this season. Sarcevic were poor for the first 4 games, offered very little, and he's going to be out for about 4 or 5 months by the time that he comes back. Patterson, again, had a obviously brilliant start, scoring in the first couple of minutes against MK Dons, and then hasn't done anything since, in all honesty, which again comes to frustrate me once more. And is there a possibility of maybe playing Poynton and Adore? Do you think that could work, or do you think there's probably a bit of lack of pace and kind of physical battle in there?
Yeah, I think there is, and I don't like 2 left footers in a midfield. I think that'd be a bad balance. I like them as like Odvar being left wing back and Poynton being on that left of the 2 10s, but as them both as 2 10s, I won't think it'd work. And I think the two similar, not just with left footed, they're both technical players. They both like to hold on to the ball. They both like to turn. You know, and just keep hold of the ball. That's their main attributes and what they add to a team. I think both in that area doing that, I don't think it'd be a good balance.
Speaking of Bobby Poynton, then let's move on to him. Started out as a left wing back yesterday, then at halftime was moved into his natural position, or more comfortable position, as the left central midfielder once we went back to the normal formation. First half, obviously, you expect him to struggle, and he did. I don't know why Alexander thought Poynton as a wing back away from home on a tight pitch like that, where Poynton's pace is not his greatest attribute, is it? It's his technical ability, and he doesn't have the attributes really to play as a left wing back apart from him being left-footed. But even when I think it was against Doncaster, they put him out to right wing back, he's kind of hanging him out to dry a little bit, which is not something that I like about Alexander. And it's not just because Point and Bradford and all that sort of stuff. Stop playing players in their wrong positions, and then when they play poorly, you kind of criticize them or freeze them out for a little bit. And obviously you can't do that at the moment with Poynton because we've got a lack of options. But you look at where Bobby was at the start of the season, he was struggling to even get 5 minutes on off the bench, if we're honest. And yeah, Poynton, I'm going to go 7 out of 10 because I thought in the second half he really did up it, and everything that we were creating was going through him. Had some great link-up play with Clark Adore and even Lewis Richards as well down that left-hand side. Was unlucky with a shot. He probably had our best chance of the game. I don't know who played him through. It might have been Clark Adore with a nice reverse pass, and the angle was pretty tight. And I think the keeper just about got down well low to his left-hand side. I think he saved it with his hand rather than his leg. But thought Poynton in that second half certainly did have a really positive impact. First half, though, because of how kind of ineffective and poor he was in that position, I can't give him higher than a 7 out of 10. And I still would edge Richards to be man of the match because I thought he was more consistent over the full 90. But Poynton, I'll give a 7 out of 10 to.
Point with my man of match. I just think that second half performance was just brilliant. It was, almost unbelievable. If he could, he deserved something from that second half, in my opinion. He got into some great areas. His style of how he was gliding around the pitch, his first touch, his confidence, is left me.
Sorry, I just put my phone on charge. Sorry about that. Phone's gonna die.
Just leaving me for dead there. Just throwing me under the bus like Alexander did Poynton. Thanks very much. Not even a sign. He just went off. I thought, well, that's it.
I don't want to interrupt you, so you just, you carry on talking. I'll come back and we'll pretend like it's didn't happen. But you've made it out to be a problem now.
Well, yeah, because it was a problem.
No problem. And there's no difference if I sit here or I sit here. Like
Well,
this.
there's a huge difference. It's like you don't want to listen to me. It's like it's boring me. I'm off.
Go on, carry on.
If you can do that, the viewers can.
No, viewers, you must stay. You must like, comment, subscribe. You must do that. You are contractually obliged.
Now they'll be saying, if I want a cup of tea, what difference does it make if I've got it on in the room or if I'm in the kitchen?
Well, as long as it's still on, it doesn't affect my life. You know what I mean? The view is still there for me. So if they want to go make a cuppa, go make a cuppa. We're only talking about Callum Kavanagh next, and then after that, it's Vidane Oliver. So you're not going to miss much.
Well, you can talk. But you're interrupted by your abrupt exit. So I can't really remember what I was on about again. So it's a disaster.
Well, you've given 2 man of the matches out today, so I'm a bit confused at how many trophies you're giving. You said Lewis Richards, you agreed that when I gave him man of the match. And now you just give him Poynton man of the match. And actually, in your match reaction yesterday, you said Neil Burnham man of the match.
Well, I said them a top 3.
So
no.
how many man of the matches are we giving?
No, I didn't give Neil Burnham a match. I said he's a contender.
Same thing.
Because it's evidence. If you're in the top 3 and the ratings like he is, he's a contender for man of match, but he didn't get it. So I didn't say Richards. I'm sure of it. So Poynton.
Richards. He's probably sat home right now, absolutely gutted. You've given him it, and then 20 minutes later, you've gone back in his house, hoodied up, balaclava on, and you've robbed it back off of him, and you've taken it to Poynton's house.
Yeah,
he sat there crying at home now, and that's all your fault.
Get on with it.
Right.
If you're crying about me giving him man a match, there's issues. It's a bad mentality. That's why we're not coming back from behind ever, Lewis. Get a grip of yourself, man. And get a grip of the rest of the team. Show some leadership. Oh, Jesus. I'm not going there. So, Bobby Poynton. He was fantastic. What do you mean? You cut me off.
Already said all this.
No, I didn't. He was just gliding. His performance, it reminded me of Cole Palmer. Would you say that's fair?
Well, Cole Palmer was genuinely shocking today. So,
well, I'm not judging him on today. I just mean the general style of play of Cole Palmer. That was how Bobby Poynton took to that field.
Yeah, I guess. Was that a question?
Yeah, are you saying is it a fair comparison?
I wouldn't say Poynton is as good as Cole Palmer, no.
Come on. You're being facetious. I didn't say that. I didn't say if he's as good. I said style of play. Is he similar, and is there a comparison to be made?
I think there is a comparison. Obviously, both left-footed, playing that number 10 sort of position. Pace isn't their main attribute. Technically very good. I think Poynton's, still lacking them goal contributions, really. He did well last season. I think he got 7 or 8 goal contributions this season. He's had a fair few in all competitions, but we need to get that 20 goal, 10 assist type of season, like what we saw from Palmer last year. Wow, I can't believe you just compared Poynton to Palmer.
Why?
Well, you say he's going to play for England. You say Walker's got bloody Premier League pressing. Now you've compared. Where am I even going here? I've not even got enough fingers for all your outrageous statements. Neil Burn's the best centre-back in League 2. The list goes on.
All I'm saying is octopus hands.
John Booth says, first half, Poynton was poor, but that's down to Alexander. Moved to his more favoured position and he became a top player. I definitely would agree. We've not got many players left to go, but we are slowly running out of time. So Callum Kavanagh is up next, then played as an attacking midfielder in the first half, moved to a striker for about 20-25 minutes in the second half before being subbed off. 5 out of 10. Again, did nothing. Really, really poor. Link-up play wasn't really there. I don't think he suits the attacking midfield position, in all honesty. And from what I've seen of Kavanagh so far this season, I can't understand how he keeps starting, to be honest with you. He's not scoring goals just because he got a pretty decent finish, but the keeper should do better against Aldershot. Doesn't mean that we should be giving him all these league starts. Sanderson is clearly the much better player. Play Cook and Sanderson up top and we'll start winning football matches again. So Callum Kavanagh, for me, 5 out of 10.
Is it me or did he kick the ball out of play again yesterday?
He probably did do. It wasn't a game which I was watching eagle-eyed. It was kind of on background, and I'll look every couple of minutes.
Bradford City v Fleetwood, you want eagle-eyed watching it, and you're watching it every few minutes.
Well, I'd have a glance, but like if nothing's happening in the middle of the park, I want watching Richie Small play it out to the right back.
And people tune in to listen to your thoughts about these players, and you're
Well,
not even watching every second of them.
even when I'm at the stadium, I'm not sat there watching the whole game.
Well, what are you doing then? Analysing the roof interior.
Well, at Bradford City, it's not great, is it?
No,
Rusty,
there's a bit
mouldy.
of dust. Yeah, seagull rubbish.
I didn't know seagulls could litter.
Excrement, seagull excrement.
Thoughts on Callum Kavanagh?
I don't really.
No. He just doesn't do anything, does he? What does he even do? What does he offer?
That'd be a great song. Not that modern rubbish. Barry Manilow, Callum Kavanagh. Coca Cabana, Callum Kavanagh. That's a great song. If we can get more lyrics to that, that's a great song.
Who is Coco Cabana?
What do you mean, who is Coco Cabana? It's a beach in Brazil. Get an education. Did you not do geography?
I did do geography, actually. That was the GCSE I got the highest in. But you didn't learn about places where we learned about rocks.
Rock erosion.
Yeah, and abrasion.
Yeah, just terrible.
You don't get this type of insight anywhere else. Should we move on then from Callum Kavanagh?
It's Callum Kavanagh. He is a striker. He scores goals from everywhere. And
he does not. He's got bloody too much hair.
He has.
Right.
It's like my monstrosity, isn't it? But no, Callum Kavanagh didn't do much. Get him out the team, and yeah, I think he's just lacking a bit of ability.
Do you think he should go out on loan?
Yeah. But January is massive for us. That second striker position, I think Kavanagh needs to go out on loan. Tyler Smith needs to go on loan. We need to get rid of Verdane Oliver, and we just need to bring in one striker who's got a proven track record of scoring and can add something to the Cook partnership. But you know it'll probably end up being Sanderson who gets recalled, and we'll end up keeping Kavanagh and Smith and Oliver, and then we'll bring in some 39-year-old striker who used to play in League Two 5 years ago, who went out to India for a few weeks for a bit of a suntan, and he comes back with a Zimmer frame.
I was actually going to suggest Niall Ranger, but he has just signed a long-term deal with Kettering, I believe. So probably couldn't even afford Niall Ranger.
ING, turn it on, W.
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Absolutely not.
No.
I was playing that video next to the free man the other day, and we'd literally got to like the third or fourth letter, and she wasn't happy. She was not happy. Right, we'll move on to Andy Cook next. Then he gets the joint worst play rating of the day alongside Halliday and Walker. 4 out of 10 for me. Largely ineffective. Just not great, really, was he? Gave the penalty away, really silly, lazy. A striker sort of challenge, but it's one that he doesn't really need to make. It's not like this player's going to score. His touch is kind of away from goal, and it would take a pretty good strike to beat Sam Walker from there. He don't need to commit to it, and I think obviously I think it's Danny Mayer who gets fouled. He plays into it. He leaves his leg in there, but Cook clearly does initiate the contact. And in terms of the rest of the game, just didn't really do much. Kind of trying a bit too hard at times. I thought the Fleetwood centre halves. I think one of them made the debut. The other two were only young lads who haven't really played much as defenders, I believe. And I thought they dealt with Andy Cook quite well, which was pretty disappointing. So he gets a 4 out of 10 from me. Hasn't scored for a couple of games now. Obviously got the goal against Doncaster, but last 2 games hasn't scored. So hopefully he can get one against Colchester, where I think he scored last year, didn't he? When we drew 1-1 on Sam Walker's debut.
Yeah. James Bolton's got great potential on her.
This is where you tell me he's like 33.
Yeah, he's 30. I'm sure he's a 30-year-old right back.
Yeah, right back, exactly. So lack of experience as a centre back, like what I said then.
Oh, but Lewis Richards got great experience at centre back, hasn't he?
No, but he actually does.
Well, no, considering he's about 21.
Yeah, but he still played left centre back.
Oh no, I'm disappointed. You don't know what Coca Cabana is, and you don't know how old James Bolton is.
Did you
discuss.
listen to how bad your question of the week? What viewers? Who do you hate more? Because I know you hate both of us, but who do you hate more? That can be the real question of the week.
Oh no, they've got to like one of us because they won't be here.
No, but some people just like they want to hate watch, don't they? They're waiting for us to slip up.
Yeah, James Bolton's 30.
But exactly, young player,
Yeah, yeah.
plenty of time left in the game.
Used to play for Halifax, Shrewsbury, Portsmouth, Plymouth, St Mirren, and Fleetwood.
Who the hell
Well,
is
he didn't
Sintman?
used to play for Fleetwood. He currently plays for Fleetwood.
Who's Sintman?
Yeah. Lewis Richards is 23. Just turned, so he was 22 last month, so I was only a year out. How old's Callum Kavanagh?
So Korban's saying our transfers this season are still bad. We're all here because nobody else cares enough about Bradford. Yeah, probably fair enough, to be honest.
Yeah, I am, John. Pretty much I am, yeah. I mean, it says everything that Alexander don't want to play two of his centre-backs that have come in the last few months and would rather play two full-backs in there. I think that says a lot about our scouting.
Thoughts on Andy Cook?
Well, I don't think I've been given player ratings ever for the last three players. So yeah, that is what it is. So I will give Andy Cook a 5 because he gave away a penalty. It was lazy. It was sloppy. Basically how I described Jamie Walker, but that was just an instant bit of play. But to be fair, I'd probably describe him throughout through the game, to be honest with you. I don't think he really led from the front in terms of pressing their centre-backs. His movement in the box was a bit... It wasn't really there. Yeah, he peeled off to a back post a few times, but, I think he could have been moving around a lot more, eager for the crosses to come in. But apart from that, he didn't have any clear-cut chances, which is always disappointing when it's Andy Cook. If the opposition can stop Andy Cook from getting his movement in the penalty box and getting a chance off, you're going to win or get a 0-0 because we're not going to score as shown again.
And the final player in the starting 11 then was Verdane Oliver. His first start in just under 2 years' time for Bradford City, and goodness me, did he not take his chance. Subbed off at half-time, and hopefully that's the last time we see him play in a Bradford City shirt. I would genuinely love to know how much money we have paid Verdane Oliver in wages, signing bonus, season bonuses, all that sort of stuff. And have a look at how many league goals he scored for Bradford City, because I reckon we're paying him about 100 grand a goal. Something daft like that. 50, 100 grand, something ridiculous, because he's got absolutely no goal threat, offered nothing. His hold-up play for a big man, he's absolutely shocking. He's terrible. I reckon Oliver had tried pin me and I'd still get that ball off of him. He is pony. The ball's at his feet, always gives it away airily, doesn't win much in the air. I actually thought he had a decent impact off the bench against Doncaster, but he proved yesterday why he can't be starting, why we can't be relying on him. I mean, when was the last time he scored over 5 league goals? Because we must be going back 3 or 4 years now. We need to get rid in January. We've been saying we need to get rid of him for 2 years now, something like that. 4.5 out of 10 for me. Slightly better than Andy Cook, but definitely worse than the Smallwoods, the Burns, the Walkers of the world. 4.5 out of 10. Lloyd Wilkinson says inability to even test the keeper in some games is worrying. I would definitely agree. I think you're talking there just generally. But yeah, it's something we have seen quite a bit. I think their keeper made a couple of saves. That one from Walker, not Walker, Poynton, sorry, was kind of the only one where I thought, wow, that's a decent save. The rest were pretty comfortable for him. But Colin, what are your thoughts on Oliver's performance?
Well, he just reminded me of a good chance Walker had that he didn't take. He had that front post flick on header, didn't he? But was straight to keep, and he should have done a lot better with that. He probably didn't have to dive for the header. He could have just stood up with that one. But yeah, Verdane Oliver. God, right. Well, one thing I can say is for a bit of a debate then, because we all know how rubbish he is, so we can put him into the category of your Kai Brunkners and your Curtis Guffords. Who's better, who's worse?
I think he's better than Brunker. At the time when we had Brunker, obviously we all love him and that sort of stuff because he always gave 110%. But in terms of footballing ability, he's better than him. Guthrie, do you know what? I actually can't really remember Guthrie playing much, to be honest. Because
I can remember him on the left wing.
A lot of it was in the COVID season, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Those trenches.
I'm not too sure, Steve. I'll probably put it in the Discord if there is a stream. But it depends what time we finish here. Shower, got some stuff to do. But yeah, what we're saying, Curtis Guthrie. How many goals did he score for us? Did he score for us? Did Guthrie score a goal?
Well, No,
I feel like
don't
he might have
think
got one maybe in the EFL Trophy. He was there for a year, wasn't he? We terminated his contract. He went to India and then Scotland, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
But
What was it? Motherwell.
yeah, she's fine, thanks. I thought it was Livingston
It's very good. No, it was Livingston. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
David
Well,
Hopkins, wasn't it?
well,
David Hopkins there.
not at the same time, but Hopkin were at Livingston before was one of.
Oh God, that must have been a long time ago.
Yeah, 7 years.
Right, so I would say Oliver's better than them two, just because at least he scored a couple of goals. You know what I mean? That Wimbledon at home moment that will live with me forever. 90+6.
I didn't actually see that goal. We were just walking. We were just walking out past the toilets in the lower tier of the cop, and then we just heard this cheer, so we snuck out. And we couldn't say anything because everyone was blocking the view. But never leave early. If it were down to me, we wouldn't have. But it wasn't down to me, and we had a bus to catch. So it's just like that, isn't it? But Guthrie's still in India, apparently, and for Bradford City, he never scored.
Never scored. Well,
No,
there you
he
go.
only
Striker didn't
played.
score in a year.
He only played 10 League Two games.
That's enough for a striker to score.
Yeah, well, how many were off the bench though?
Yeah, maybe. We had dirty carpets, didn't we? It were good. Loved our dirty carpets.
Who's dirty carpet?
Lee Novak. Not got a vacuum. Your carpets get dirty.
How do you know he ain't got a vacuum? Where's this
Well,
come
because his name's Novak. No vacuum.
Christ.
Come on,
That
get
is-
with the times.
Oh, that's terrible.
Get with the
Oh,
times.
no. Lee no vacuum. Oh, that's shocking.
That's what we tweeted. I think when we signed him was like blowing dust off of a carpet or something.
Who did?
Bradford.
Oh, so it ain't even yours.
No, I remember. I was sat in sports science at the time and I saw it come through. I'm pretty sure. So the notification was like, "Oh my god, who the hell's this?" And then
A
everyone
vacuum
replies like,
salesman.
"Yeah, another sponsorship."
Yeah, those bloody salesmen. They shut the door on them. Get the dash hound on them.
Should we move on to the subs, or have you got alt to say about Oliver?
Nothing. He should have got across his man for the goal. He's just not a pressing striker, is he? He's just too lazy. Waits for the ball to come to his feet. Don't press the strikers. Lazy.
Yeah, he's a bit clumsy in the way that he gave away a few fouls as well. Then I thought some were soft. The referee, goodness me, were terrible, wasn't it? I completely forgot about him. He was angering me.
Yeah, want the best, want the worst.
Right, let's move on to the substitutions then. Clark Adol came on at half-time for said number 19. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Played left wing back. No, that's not his natural position, but certainly a position that he is comfortable in playing. And I thought created some things down that left-hand side, linked up well with Poynton and Richards. And like I say, had a pretty positive impact on the game. Obviously, we've missed him last couple of games through that injury. So I'm hoping that he'll come back into the team now, get a regular run in the side. Hopefully, as one of them number 8s, I wouldn't even mind seeing him and Poynton get the start with how Paul Walker has been with Patterson and Sarswick out injured as well. So hopefully Ador gets a start, whether it's left wing back, whether it's as a central midfielder. Either way, I need to see Ador in the team a bit more, and hopefully we see the best of Clark Ador. That 1 month where we saw a world-class Clark Ador come out last season around February sort of time, we need that consistently from Ador. And I thought, like I say, his link-up play was good yesterday. He's just lacking them goals and assists, so I give him a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant when he came on. Good link up with Poynton on that left side. Give us something different as well to what Poynton did. He's got a bit of trickery about him, bit more agile and a bit more pace to take on a player. I really like Odra, and I think we missed him last couple of games. And I'm glad that he's back, and hopefully he can get back into that first team because he's been one of those players, but we have missed it again.
And the other substitution then was around 65, 70 minutes or so. Ollie Sanderson came on for Callum Kavanagh. Certainly much better. I give him a 6.5 out of 10. Had one chance, really. It wasn't the easiest chances. Like you say, Jay Ben put the ball into the box. Sanderson tries to flick it on at the near post, and I think he puts his head a little bit too far down and actually ends up coming off of his back. He should definitely do better with the chance, but that probably comes from the lack of game time, lack of sharpness. He needs to be in the team, give him a run, give him the next 5 league games to start, because I think he's more than good enough. He's certainly our second best striker. He links up well with the rest of the team, and yeah, I think Sanderson, I give him a 6.5 out of 10. I thought he had quite a positive impact.
Yeah, Yeah, positive impact definitely, and yep, got to start him. I think with his header, he probably should have gone with a Harry Wilson. That goal against Brentford, did you see it?
I think I did, but it's kind of, you mean like the outside of the left foot, like what Poynton's were against Newport, kind of loops it over the keeper, the outside of the boot.
Did Poynton? Oh, I can't remember. Did Poynton score against Newport?
Yeah, he scored the third goal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can't remember it. I thought he only scored off the bench in August. Can't remember that were against
Bromley.
Steve. Bromley.
Bromley.
Yeah, can't remember it. No, I'm not. I've got dementia. I can't remember recent games and stuff.
Anything else to add then on Sanderson?
Get him in the team.
Nice. Right, final one then. Graham Alexander, 2 out of 10. I don't want to go on for too long because I know we are now over the hour mark, but he got it all wrong. No, he got it all wrong.
Very
Start
hard.
11 was wrong. Formation was wrong. Tactics were wrong. Subs were good, and that's why he's got 2, because he did 2 subs and it had a positive impact. But giving players like Viden Oliver a start, it's in November 2024. Terrible decision. Callum Cabinet should not be starting. Why are we playing Bobby Poynton as a left wing back? I just don't understand it. Some really baffling moves. You've got 3 centre halves on the bench, only 1 in the starting 11. You're playing a back 3. It's just not making sense what you're doing at the moment, Graham. Last couple of games, tactically, he's got it wrong. Got it massively wrong against Doncaster, and he got proven a little bit up against Charlie Adams Fleetwood. And Charlie Adams is a very inexperienced manager, so that's a little bit of a concern for me. I'm still definitely Alexander in at the moment, but it's hard to really back Alexander to the hills like what I have done for the large part if he's going to stick with playing with some of these players who are just simply not good enough. And that's the frustration, I think, for me. So he's getting a 2 out of 10 just because he made 2 positive subs. That's about it.
He's the lady for turning.
He's what?
He's the lady for turning.
I'm not following.
Could you turn in the next couple of games?
Oh,
Don't get a certain amount of points. It was Margaret Thatcher reference. I mean, I'm not an advocate of Margaret Thatcher because I couldn't care less about her in either which way you swing. But she did once say the lady's not for turning.
So next 3 important games, not counting the Rotherham game and the EFL Trophy, because obviously we're already through. Is it Colchester, Accrington, and Morecambe? Obviously Morecambe being in the FA Cup. I'm pretty sure it is.
No, don't count that either. Do Barrow next or Crew.
Well, I was just going to say we've got to beat Colchester, Accrington, and Morecambe as a minimum, and then we should get 4 points from Crewe and Barrow, I would say. But
what if we got 4 points out next 2? What are you thinking?
That's not good enough, but I wouldn't then be calling for his head.
Lose the next 2.
Lose the next 2, and you know what I mean. Say we struggle against Rotherham, then there's a lot on that Morecambe game then, because getting into the 3rd round of the cup, I'd like to get a nice away game in the 3rd round. So lose the next 2, and the pressure really does build on him. It also depends how we lose, though. We play really well. We just can't hit a band, or we have 25 shots, 15 on target. Their keeper turns into Gordon Banks. Then you say it's one of them days. But if we have 1 shot against Colchester, 3 against Accrington, or we say we have 28 shots, but 3 of them are only inside the penalty area, and we're really struggling to break them down, that's where my alarm bells would start to ring, because we are now on the back of a couple of bad results in the league. Only 1 point out of his last possible 9 points available.
Yeah. that was a very depressed yes, wasn't it? That's how bad it's got. I can't be bothered. Oh no, it's not good when you think about it. But it's gonna come good. I've got a funny feeling up there that we're gonna do it.
Well, I've got a funny feeling down there that we're gonna do it. So,
well what do you mean by we're gonna do it? I mean, I hope you mean because that's yes. Very concerning.
Well, if I'm available. Everyone has their price.
Yeah,
I am willing to be sold.
You know what to say about cricket?
What did they say about cricket?
Well, sometimes you've got to learn how to bat and ball.
Exactly. You don't want to be greedy.
No.
So,
but you can't bowl and be a wicket keeper.
Can you not? I don't know. I've never watched cricket in my life.
Well, obviously you can't, because you can't bowl and then catch the ball at the other end, can you?
You could be quick. Could be octopus, multi-skilled.
Well, you can bowl a ball at 90 miles per hour.
Yeah, well, I'd catch
Josh
that.
Archer does anyway. Don't think you're catching that.
Away from boring cricket nonsense, Alexander, how would you assess his performance yesterday? Managerial performance.
Yesterday was Beatles. Yesterday wasn't great. Did he get it wrong? Yeah, because we lost. Did he get it massively wrong? I don't think so. I'd give him a 5, maybe 4, because we did lose. But I think as much as you've got to criticise the team's selection, a lot of managers, definitely the previous bunch, would not have been so proactive to change it. Would not have brought off, Vidane Oliver at half time. Would not have tweaked the system. Would not have come out in the interview. And I've seen some people saying that is not being saying that it was his fault and blaming it on certain things. And I think he sort of hinted at that, didn't he, by saying that the performance were down to the mentality, and that if you can't get yourself up for the first 20 minutes, then that's down to the players. But then he did later say, well, maybe that's something I have to look at as well. But I think it is expected. If you're a player, you should be motivated, and it shouldn't take someone to get you up for a game. It shouldn't take for a manager to tell you to, in terms of Jamie Walker's situation anyway, and Andy Cook's, in terms of lazy tackling and petulance, and not sticking with your men and not being able to get out running midfield like we were. I think that's down to the players not reacting. But in terms of the manager, the best thing that a manager can do is accept when he's wrong, like he did in that second half, be proactive, like he has done in weeks gone by and now, and turn it around. And won a sticky patch, three games without a win. We've got to turn that around now before it turns into 4, 5, 6, and we're in trouble. And certain fans already saying, "Let's have a conversation." I think it's way too early for that. I have full faith in him, and I think whatever happens, we've got to see the season out with him, and maybe even see another year out with him, because chopping and changing managers does not help and does not change any situation in this football club, as we've seen. And as we saw last season, with his streaks, you can go on a bad run, you can go on a good run. It was only a few days ago we were talking about Alexander being the best manager we've had since Phil Parkinson. Things take time, and I think with time he can get to that sort of level that we got to that era. I think he can definitely build to that. And I can definitely see us going on another winning run as well, especially when we get our injuries back. I'm just disappointed in the players who have been playing in these last few games and were playing when we had that bad run in September as well, for not stepping up, because you've got to take your chance with both hands, and too many players haven't and don't.
John Booth says Alexander got loads wrong in that match, but some of our players have a bad attitude problem. Who would you say specifically, John? And Lloyd Wilkinson says, away from home, Graham Alexander needs to tell the players to pretend we're already a goal down from the kickoff. And that's a problem where so many times away from home, it's been pretty much nearly every away game we've conceded inside the first 15, 20 minutes. And I was actually surprised to have a look at the home and away league tables. Do you know where we are in the actual table at the moment? Are we 9th, 10th, something like that?
11th.
11th, so even worse. Our home form, we are the 6th best home team in the division. We have 14 points. Top is Walsall, who have 16. In the away table, we
have a game in hand as well.
We have a game in hand on some teams, but Wimbledon have a game in hand on us as well. Away from home, though, we've played a game more than a lot of teams. We're 11th there, 4 points away from bottom, which is actually AFC Wimbledon. They've lost every away game apart from 2, and obviously they drew against us. That's a concern for me. Our away form has been what we've kind of depended on with a lot of managers over the last couple of years. I think, was it the season we got to the playoffs, we were the best away team in the division. This season, it seems to be the complete opposite way around. And I'm looking at our next couple of matches. Obviously, we got Colchester away next week. They're 20th in terms of their home form. The week after is Accrington at our place. They're 21st in terms of their away form. So that has to be 6 points at the absolute minimum, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's Bradford City, and we love giving teams a chance to turn their form around. We did it against Fleetwood, didn't we? Did they have a poor home form, or won a bad one of form? They were on some
7
form
without a win.
7 without a win. Yeah, there you go. We just did it with them. We did it with Morecambe. With Cheltenham. Did it with them, I think. They were on a bad one of home form or something as well. We do it with everyone, and you know that's something's got to stop. But I'll keep saying it till it stops. It's my lucky shorts. Didn't go again. Didn't wear the shorts. We won't beat Colchester. We'll draw 0-0, 1-1. We'll be 1-1. Get a few 1-1s against them, won't we? Then we'll beat Accrington because I'll be there in my shorts.
Well, this is, maybe I come down to that as well. I don't think we've won a game. I don't think we've won a game that I haven't been to, and I haven't seen us lose. So every time I've gone to see us play, we've either won or actually, no, Doncaster. Ignore me. What am I on about? Right. Well, we're off. We've been here for over an hour and 10 minutes. John Booth says Cook, Walker, Smolden, and Oliver all have bad attitudes, especially in the first half yesterday, even if we were set up wrong. Be interesting to hear any more of your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the stream if you're watching this back as a video. Thank you all very much. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Thank you all so much for the support on the Mansfield and Sheffield United videos throughout the week on this channel. Go subscribe to Korban. I don't think the link is in the description, but Rainer's Bantams is where you can find him. Thank you all though for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you all very soon for another one.